negotiating the job offer. So always negotiate your salary. Always ask. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be the last video in my series all about job hunting, job searching, applying for jobs, and getting a job. Today's video is about negotiating the job offer. So it's after you've already turned in your resume, you had the initial phone screen, you had an in-person interview most likely, and now you're getting the offer. So stay tuned to learn more about how to negotiate your job offer. So before I get into how to negotiate the job offer, I do want to say one more thing about the job process that I don't think I've touched on yet. There's a lot of times where people are unsure whether or not they got the job, whether they're going to get the job. Sometimes after the phone interview or the in-person interview, we feel great. We feel like we got the job. We're like, oh yeah, I really connected up with that person and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get the job. And then there's just radio silence and you don't hear anything. When I first applied to jobs, I had no idea whether or not I did good or bad. I felt like I did good in some, bad in others, and you just never know. And I would say that if a recruiter, and especially if you're trying to apply for a company that needs to hire right away, they move quickly. Oftentimes after the phone screen with my recruiter, they already scheduled the next phone screen with the hiring manager because they already knew that I met all the requirements. If they don't do that, it's not necessarily a bad sign, but it might mean that you're not as good of a fit or they weren't quite sure about you and that's why they had to go back to their hiring manager and talk to them about what they talked to you about. So I would say that if the recruiter is lagging, if you've emailed, you've followed up, and you haven't heard really anything, it's probably not a good sign. Again, there's a lot of instances where this might not be true, but I would say for the most part, people move quickly if they're interested in you. They don't want to lose you to another position or have you be disinterested. Same goes with the in-person interview. If you don't hear from them and they say they were going to get back to you within a few days, it probably means they're talking to someone else or another candidate, and that's probably not great for you. But I wouldn't give up and I would continue to email the recruiter. Hopefully they keep you informed, but if not, you sort of just have to move on and continue to apply for other jobs. I would say that even if you're in the in-person interview stage, continue to apply to jobs until you get that final offer because you just never know. And you would hate to have to lose out on all that time. I remember this past cycle when I was interviewing, I was still doing phone screens while I was waiting for other companies, and I just kept taking them because you just never know, and you can always tell them later on that, hey, you know, I got a job offer. After the in-person interview, if you're waiting to get an offer and you feel like you should have gotten it and it's been like weeks, it's probably also not a good sign. If anything, if they're sort of stringing you along saying that they're going to get back to you, they're still evaluating other things, it probably means that they're either interviewing other people or maybe they made an offer to one person and they're waiting for them to get back and you're sort of the backup, which again isn't horrible, but I would say that you should just continue on and looking at other jobs. Alright, let's move right into the job negotiating process. I know that a lot of videos out there and even what your parents and your schools tell you is how to get a job, but they don't tell you what to do once you get the offer. My first piece of advice would be not to accept anything right away. This is their base offer, so if they call you on the phone, if the recruiter's like, hey, here's the offer, do you want to take it? I would just say, you know, thank you so much for the offer, I would just like to think about it for a little bit. There's no harm in saying I want to think about it. They want you, they're not going to rescind their offer, I wouldn't worry about it. So just say, you know, hey, I just want to take a few days or the weekend to think about it. Then I would start doing research. Look at Glassdoor, other websites, ask friends, Google, look up what you think and what you find this average salary should be. Most likely it might be below that because this is their base salary rate. My next piece of advice is to always negotiate your salary. Again, there's nothing to lose here. They gave you the offer, they like you, they want you to work for them, and they most likely kind of lowballed you in the beginning because they know that you're going to negotiate. So I would say no matter what, even if you were expecting to make $60K and they gave you $70K, still negotiate. You have nothing to lose. So my advice would be to negotiate at least 5 to 10K more of what you're looking for because they're probably going to negotiate down from there. Now, when you do negotiate, make sure you have reasons for negotiating. I remember when I first got my job out of law school, I negotiated for a higher salary because I said, you know, I went to law school, I have a JD, I have a graduate degree, and I think that people in my position are making this much in the market, so I think I should make more. You don't just want to go back and say, give me more money. Of course, you want to say, you know, my experience is this, and this is why I think I should make more. This is what the market is making. If you're fresh out of college, just compare it to other jobs on the market or other jobs with that title and see if you can get more money. The worst thing they'll say is no. They're not going to rescind your offer just because you asked for more money. And sometimes and I mentioned this too in the beginning, the recruiter will ask you how much your range is, and they usually give you an idea if the range that you mentioned is within their budget. If it's not, still go through with the process. I did that with this current job and I still was able to negotiate more in the end. So I think just never take no for an answer. If they want you that badly, they'll get you the money. My next piece of advice is if you don't get the salary that you're looking for, negotiate other items. There's always your bonus, there could be equity, there could be extra vacation days, other perks. It doesn't always have to be equity, and maybe that's not what matters to you. Maybe you want to negotiate working from home for a few days a week, or you want to negotiate other perks like more vacation days. Each person has different priorities, and salary may not be one of them, so make sure you negotiate those items. Really read your offer letter. As a lawyer, I have to say that because you never know what they could be putting in there. Make sure you understand the benefits. Make sure you ask all of the questions because you don't want to be caught off guard. And I know even after the offer stage, you could ask to interview again. Now you might want to meet with other people on your team. You might want to go back to the office, or maybe you never got to see the office. That's not an unreasonable ask, to just want to see the office and understand if you want to work there. I know not everyone can be picky, but if you can be choosy, then why not make sure you find the exact fit for you and that you like where you're going to work. The last thing that I would say is if you have other offers or other jobs where you've maybe moved past the in-person interview and you're sort of waiting for an offer, use this offer to negotiate those other offers. You can pit them against one another. You can say, you know, this company offered me this much, so will you be willing to give me this much? Or in my case too, I got an offer from one company, but I haven't heard from another company. And if you're not sure which one you want to work for, you can say, you know, hey, I got an offer from another company. Where are you at with this process? That way it puts the fire under them so they understand that you might leave, and if they really want to make an offer to you, they got to move fast. And you know, if they don't, then they don't, and at least you tried. So definitely use offers to help you get other offers. Alright, so those are all the tips I have for negotiating the job offer. Of course, once you're happy with the offer, go ahead and accept, sign your paperwork, and start your new job. It's really exciting to be starting a new position, even though it may be scary and it may be right after college, but you know, I think everyone has a lot to learn on their first job, and I think if you position yourself correctly, then you're going to be really happy. So I think the key takeaway here is to negotiate and always ask, because it never hurts to ask, and the worst thing that can happen is that they'll say no. I would not be afraid of them rescinding their offer. So if you have any questions, as usual, please comment below, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.